Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to your home of top flight skip Barber action on a Monday night. The Monday Night Lights this week coming to you live from the awesome, the infamous, and the deadly Nordschleife, the Green Hell. It is tonight, and I'm your host, Alex McKellar, and joining me tonight is the man himself, the Golden Stig, Mr. Tim Awima. Tim, the Nordschleife track, ready for a big action-packed race tonight.
Yes, I am, Alex, and welcome, viewers, and it's good to be here tonight. And it's been a while since I've been in the commentary box, but I'm really looking forward to a great race. While this isn't my track of choice to run on, it seems very popular to a lot of the races out there, and it should be for a really exciting race tonight, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it immensely. This is, of course, a very, very popular track with the drivers. I've done just watching one of our competitors, Mr. Solar, running around sideways there. Look, I'm really looking forward to this. It's a driver's track myself. I've done a few races here. I've enjoyed them, but I've often said it's a great track to drive, tough track to race, single driving line around here. Very hard to race side by side with any confidence. As soon as you go offline here, there's imminent walls and, well, death in real life. Not really, but you know, there's a lot of trouble anyway if you go offline here. The curbs are large, particularly large in these cars, and troublesome at the same time. So look, it'll be interesting to see what the drivers can make of this. It's a short pre-race session tonight because this track is so big, Tim. The qualifying is separate, and of course once qualifying is done, everyone joins the session with whatever time they got or didn't get. Short warm-up, and then we'll be into the action shortly.
Yeah, Alex, and with that, look, yeah, it's good to get you qualifying in. It's always good to be up the front of the pack, especially at this track. As you said, single line racing, it's where we're going to get onto the straights. We're really going to see the drafts and the overtakes and some 3 wide, 4 wide action we'll be calling tonight. But definitely be good to start from the front of the pack and really control the pace through the winding sections of this course.
Absolutely. As the warm-up session comes to a close, we will run through our grid for tonight's race. We have Mr. Ben Snell, who I know set that qualifying time in the session just preceding this, starting on pole with an 8:10.4. P2 goes to Kevin Henderson with an 8:11. P3 to Cristobal Otero Roman with an 8:12. Rafa Sola, who we saw sliding aim very well earlier on in that warm-up session, in P4. P5, Luke Whitten, long-awaited return for Luke. Great to see him on track tonight. P6 to Oscar Tinchilamaza, another one of our Iberian regulars. P7, Anthony Jones from the UK and I Club. P8, John Skoltz representing ANZ Club and Team Venom Racing. Sean Caron back in the top split this week in P9. P10 goes to Ivan Blanco Fernandez. P11, current series leader in Russell Clark from ANZ and Team Milo. P12 to Mick Gray. Great to see Mick consistently in the top split in P12. P13 for him Antonides, Anthony Catt, Samuel Collins, Trevor Labrie rounding out our field tonight as the green light is about to go. Oh, rolling backwards off the start line was Russell Clark as they get away. Someone stalled on the grid. Who's that? Was that Kevin Henderson stalled? No, it wasn't. Kevin's got away. Just trying to say, I think it was Ben Snell stalled on the grid after sitting on pole. He's not made the first corner. I don't know, maybe he was for indeed, like Miss Antonides last week, unfortunately getting stuck on the grid. No qualifying time for Antonides this week, but he certainly seems to have got away. My word, Tim, what a dramatic start to this race once again.
This is unbelievable, Alex. I was watching the start line, the lights went green, and then I've seen Ben just sit there. It's like he couldn't get the gear. He had the revs up. He's got some contact, and he's ended up into the pits, and looks like for him's in there as well. But as we go up to the front, we've got Kevin Henderson, who's taken just an early lead. And in this race, there's never really a leader until the very as we cross the start-finish line. But he's taken the early lead, and he's just trying to set a nice, easy pace as they go around this track, Alex.
Yeah, that's exactly right. He's got out. He's about a half-second lead. Of course, we're starting on the the first of these supremely long straights here. First chance to stretch the legs of these cars here. Side by side, Luke Whitten and Solar as they approach the tail end of this. Sweeping left-hander here. You can hold it flat in fifth, but it's tough, and sometimes the rear end will get around you, get away from you as they come down into the second or third gear right-hander, depending on how you take it at the end of this. And Luke Whitten jumping up to P3 already. He's up a couple of spots from where he started on the grid. And of course, not everyone's taking the time to set a time here in qualification, so that's why we saw Fahim Antoinitis so far down the order to begin with. And I'm wondering, Tim, was it him that caught the stranded Ben Snell on the start line, who is, by all reports, has got a 9-minute 30 tow while he sits in the pit. That's quite a dramatic one, as of course it is around here.
Yeah, and I didn't quite catch the start there with Ben and if Fahim had hit him at all, but a 9-minute tow, that's an unbelievable amount of waiting time. But he'll get back out in the track, and I'm sure he will try and settle that at least. But as I said, as we go back up the front, Kevin still controlling the action here, closely followed by Christabel and Luke Whitten. It's good to see Luke Whitten back in here tonight, up 2 positions into third, followed by Rafa Solar and then Oscar Maza coming in there at 5th. So as we come around in our top 5, Kevin Henderson easily leading at this stage. I don't think he's going to get the breakaway, Alex. I think with the draft, they will stay with him. He's only half a second in front, and I think that's just enough for them to stay on his tail throughout this track.
Yeah, absolutely. Roman's climbed right up on the back of Henderson now. He had a small gap. I heard a bit of contact in the background, but everyone seems to be travelling okay. This field of quality drivers, for those playing the soft game at home, the strength of field tonight's just a tick over 3,300 and well up there with the top strength of fields of the week. So plenty of points on offer for the drivers here tonight, but this field of 16 cars tonight still tightly bunched and packed together as you'd expect here. There's not a lot of passing opportunities, and if you do manage to force a mistake from the driver in front or around you, it's usually good night nurse for that driver and hopefully not for yourself. But as they start to look now at the second of these long straights, this is an uphill straight. There's a difference in the cars this season. This on the run up this back straight here, it used to be a 5th gear run by about this point on the track, but now it's flat out in 4th the whole way. Slight changes to the default setup of the car have resulted in that, and it's actually added about 5.5, 6 seconds to the overall lap time around here. Gives you a bit more time to think around here. It's still quite an enjoyable drive. I've driven some laps around here this week, and the guys having fun. 2x2 now. Kevin Henderson through the kick, the left-hander up there. You had Roman going sideways through there. Whitten the whole time looking for his way through, as there is a pack behind still doing similarly. 2 or 3 wide up this long straight as they approach the second gear right-hander at the end of the back straight, Tim.
Yeah, excitement plus there, and it was interesting. Luke Whitten was getting a little bit impatient before. He was trying to create his own racetrack on the grass there. It was he didn't like the fact that he couldn't get past, and he was trying another way. But obviously, with the losing a bit of traction out in the grass, he was keen to get back straight onto the tarmac, but he's got himself up into second as they've headed through the carousel, and now they head up to high lookout in this quite fast section, and then they'll take the double. There's 2 right-handers as we come down into Seesaw Man, so it's a very technical track to get it right, especially in the skip barbers, and really to keep that pace. And I've seen where Kevin Henderson, you can see there's a couple of patches there where he just doesn't quite have the momentum to keep that gap, and they've gained back on him quite quickly, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great to see Henderson out in front. Just equally as good to see Whitten right on his tail now as they, excuse me, as they head around the mid to later stages of this track now. Quite technical through here, as you say. Great camera work through the trees there. as we come now into YouTube, on the approach onto YouTube corner. Of course, very famous here for people camping there and grabbing footage of the cars, as it's a very deceptively tricky section of the track now, as everyone using every bit of the track and more. I tell you what, it's intimidating enough to race this track on your own, but in a pack of 8 or so cars, it is tough going. Looking forward, back, into mirrors, trying to hang on to the draft, and yet still trying not to die as you race around this incredible circuit here tonight. These guys putting on a fantastic show, Tim.
Yeah, exactly right. And I don't know what happened to Luke. He lost a bit of time just back there, Alex. He's still with Kevin, but not quite on his tail like he was before. He dropped off a little bit. But it looks like the first 7 cars at the moment are forming a train up to about 3 seconds, all in draft with each other. So that will make for an exciting run as we go up into the final, like when they head up towards the final straight. And will we get the 3-4 wide action tonight, Alex? I don't know, but I'm really hoping for it as we come into the little carousel and they pop out there and heading down to Dottington High, and then that'll hit them along the long straight there, Alex.
Yeah, this straight they're coming onto now as they go through the sweeping right-hander. 4th gear, flat through here if you're brave enough, because you want to be brave enough, because this is an immensely long straight. So we've seen in seasons past, this straight leads to all sorts of chaos. The front 3 now well and truly in draft. The 3 behind them, or 3 or 4 behind them, looking to keep within that draft as well, because the draft in this section is enormous. You're flat out here in 5th gear the whole way as Henderson pulls in behind. Witten once again looking to use that draft. I tell you what, you can draft a pass here probably 3 times on this straight. It is that long and you are flat the whole way. You're really trying to set yourself up tactically for the last section, the last few corners through here. Oh, look at that, Witten coming straight across there, trying to steal that draft. He's pushed out to the right there by Roma, and he's turned Henderson. Witten, the front 3 are gone, folks. Oh, they've taken out 4 and 5 behind them. It's all happening here, folks, and that's what I was saying. This straight can be all sorts of action-packed as the stragglers coming in behind, and luck's a fortune for those guys. We might just jump back and grab a replay if we can. We'll jump back a little bit here and see what took place. Tell you what, we might ride on board. No, we'll just see what happened here slowly as she goes. Now we saw Witten, Henderson's draft by. Then we saw Roman, I think it was, coming up behind Henderson, and then Witten looking to come across and secure that spot there, but he was closed out by Roman. And then as Witten comes back, perhaps to have another crack at the draft to pass opportunity, we saw Roman follow him, cut across the line and try to put 3 cars where perhaps only 2 would fit. Don't know if forces Witten wide. I don't know if there was contact there, the initial contact though, and then from there there's been contact between Roman and Henderson, and that's where it all happened. That's where it all came unstuck, folks, because the trailing cars in behind these guys are all lifting or hashtag never lifting through here. And we just see Solar here getting crunched by Roman, who launches over the top of the trailing car there. Couldn't see the number on that car. And then everyone behind is just struggling to get through. That car that's been launched up, oh, the 10 car there doing a fantastic job. That was Solar still after getting taken out, managing to keep the brakes on. That's a fantastic drive by him, or a sensible move to do in that sort of circumstances. But oh my goodness, that's really carved up this field, Tim.
Well, Alex, talk about throw a cat among the pigeons. We have a totally different race now. I was looking at the race before and I was looking at Mick Gray. He was well positioned down. He hadn't even come onto the back straight. He was in 8th position. He was 8 seconds behind. He's now up 7 positions into 5th. And this is a fantastic drive for him. John Skoltz up into 3rd, and then we have Oscar Maza into 2nd. And Ivan Fernandez, he was probably thinking, I've got no chance. Now he's in the lead. It's an absolute cracker tonight. action-packed. We got our 3 wide, but it ended up in an accident. So not the best for those guys up the front, but geez, the guys sitting back in the lower positions are really going to enjoy this race now, Alex.
I tell you what, Tim, that straight, you wouldn't think how much carnage happens on the longest straight here, but it does. Time and time again. I saw it in the previous race here tonight. I've seen it. We saw a spectacular footage from Timo Vascalampi in last season. Oh, Scalzi's put it in the wall. He's run wide on one of those ripple strips, and death has ensued. Let's take a quick look back there. Unfortunately for Scalzi there, he has caught the ripple strip. He's run a bit wide through the left-hand kink there on the way down. He's caught the ripple strip. The rear of the car's become unweighted, and it's just put him nose first and robbed him of what looked to be a certain podium position. Unlucky Mr. John Scalzi. Terrible accident for him there, and what we're left with now basically, folks, is some time trials with a couple of little scraps for positions for minor places around here. As I was saying before, Tim, it's the number of times you have an accident on that straight, and I think I put it down to guys, as you said earlier, getting impatient. They're tied up and they're like corks in a bottle stuck around this track. Oh, I've just heard another one go. What's going on here? Oh no, it's a rougher solo. I think he was travelling around with some damage there. Let's see if we can't pick up what happened to him. He's come down on the approach. Oh, the rear's just gone. This is a hard braking section. More so than you think, even though it's a third gear corner, he's just been spun out, and the green hell claims another victim. I'm wondering if he had damage and he was trying to get around to the pits. No, he would have just come out of the pits in all honesty, because he had that big accident before, Tim.
Well, Alex, all I can say is we should just put all the names into a hat and just draw one out as a lucky prize. I think that's how it's going to end tonight. Anything's going to happen. The only thing I know is Mr. Ivan Fernandez, he's out there, he's driving away like he's on holidays. He's got a little lead there. He's got a little gap, and I think that'll just keep him relaxed, knowing that he hasn't got the pressure behind him at the moment. He can ease it up in the corner slightly. He doesn't feel pressured, and hopefully he doesn't try anything silly and crash out. But we've got Oscar Mazza in second, and Trevor Labrie travelling in third. He's up 13 positions. So he must be having a fun time out there, knowing that he's gained all these positions and having a really good drive. And Mick Gray's just moved up into fourth position, so it's good for Mick Gray to get a good result tonight so far, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. Car number 16 sneaking into this field of 16. Mick Gray tonight, he's up 8 positions and looking to bag 88 iRating. But I tell you, the guy will be laughing all the way to the bank. You mentioned it before, car number 13, Ivan Blanco Fernandez. He's looking to gain 109 iRating out of this race here tonight, all from being a bit patient and picking his way through the carnage. I tell you what, if there's ever a track and a time to drive at 9/10 rather than the full throttle, this is it, Ivan Fernandez. Just get in amongst it, mate. Enjoy this 4.9 second lead and hang on for the ride of your life. But jumping back, as you say, to young Mick Gray, he's now clearing out in P4. He's opened up a 1 second lead already over Anthony Cat, all the way from UK&I, of course. He's a consistent skippy driver, but probably having a bit of a struggle here tonight as he's dropping back. He's now 2.6 seconds behind. I don't know if he's carrying any damage. Once again, these tree-bound camera angles are copying. It's the same spot. I shouldn't be really surprised, should I? But Mr. Cat there coming down once again through the section known as YouTube Corner affectionately. You see plenty of clips around here on YouTube, of course, as we just go past that bunker. Yeah, Cat looks like the handling of his car's a little bit off, so perhaps he is carrying some damage. Looking back further in the field, it's all pretty spread out with Gray just on the back of Labrie, about the closest thing we have to a battle. I'll tell you what, the green hell strikes again, Tim. It's now almost all about time trials.
Yeah, exactly right, Alex. And we were hoping it wouldn't come to this, but you know, as you said, you've seen a lot of accidents on the straight. I personally don't drive this track, so I'm not too familiar with the amount of accidents that do occur. But you are right. I think they get impatient with this single line driving, and the opportunity to overtake really jumps out. And by the time they get to do it in draft, everyone's fighting for any bit of real estate, and we'll start pushing people across off the track. And look, it's a bit of a shame we had that, but as you said, for Ivan, he'll be happy, and he's just driving quite well. I'm watching his racing lines. He's he's still driving quite hard. He doesn't want to give up this gap. He's now put it out to 5.5 seconds. So if anything, he's still driving quite hard, Alex.
Yeah, no slouch there. He's gapping Marza there, who's a MNL regular, and doing a fantastic job out in front. Now, folks, I'm going to cut across to our highlighted streamer for this week. We've got Corey from the Twitch channel. Corey Has No Life 13. We had him in the booth a couple of times. You can see he's still learning the track. He's got his driving line on. It's like he's driving a slot car, of course, here tonight, or at least trying to stay on that line. Go check out Corey if you'd like to see what's going on. I believe Corey might be in the third split tonight. He grabbed a podium in the preceding race, and he's out there having a blast by the looks of it. And hopefully he'll give us, as he grabs a big bit of curb there. He might want to mind another one. He's just trying every bit of curb, every bit of track. He's going to use it if it's there to be used, folks. Hopefully we'll get a jeepers through the little carousel there. He'll survive long enough to give us a race report in the next one, folks, at the end of the race, I should say. But there you go, folks. That was Corey Has No Life, and what it looks like from the cockpit of one of these things. He's having a bit of fun out there, and we should hear more about that later. But meanwhile, back up the front of this race, we've got Fernandez, who is out now to just about a 6-second lead over Marza, cutting his laps, looking pretty clean actually. He's got a good pace. We've seen him in MNL regularly, but this young upstart, it might be said, from Iberia, his clubmate in Fernandez, is out and really gapping them at 6 seconds now. Third place now we have Trevor Labrie, who is a newcomer to MNL, but clearly racing smart here. The car plate number 14, seated 14th driver here tonight, sitting on what looks to be a good shot at a podium now as we're on our final lap. This track's so long, 160 plus corners. We only do 3 laps here, folks, and they're in excess of 8 minutes each. Of course, the fastest lap here tonight so far, an 8:09. Can you believe that? 8 minutes 9 for a single lap. Mick Gray now, he's in P4. And again, the plucky, smart racing of Mick Gray has seen him, car number 16, sneak into the top split, sitting on for a top 5, if not a podium. Anthony Catt from UK and I, as we mentioned, he's in P5, some 3.5 seconds behind Gray in P4. Samuel Collins, another MNL regular, not sporting the angry helmet that we've seen him in before. He's some 13 seconds behind in 6th position. Luke Whitten on somewhat of a recovery drive now, having had a brief visit to the pits to grab some repairs. He's in P7, 2.2 seconds behind Collins in P6. I would expect Luke to rein that in and perhaps have a shot at a top 5 tonight. Watch that space. Cristobal Otero Roman, in fact, is 37 seconds behind Whitten, now riding in P8. Kevin Henderson, the unfortunate victim of that major incident that we saw on the first lap there, on the final straight there. He's a further 7 seconds behind and having network problems by the look in P9. Sean Carron on his return to the top split tonight, currently sitting in P3 in the MNL Championship overall, is down in 10th, some 25 seconds behind. John Scholz, who's questioning his life choices after joining this race tonight, some 4.8 seconds further back in P11. Russell Clark, similarly, he's 21 seconds back, but still in the Monday Night Lights points and hoping to hang on to the current championship lead that he has. That leaves us, the only other person on track is what looks to be still a damaged Fahim Antoinides, the number 1 plated car tonight, who's currently in 15th, trying to catch some other cars who may have already retired now as he runs through the little carousel on the tail end of his second lap. I don't know if that's self-inflicted there, that secondary damage, because he was in the pits earlier, but he's our last runner here tonight. That's our run through the field tonight, folks. Back up in front now, we're on with Fernandez, who is now 6.1, approaching 6.2 seconds ahead of Marza Tim, and it's all his race to lose from here.
Yeah, exactly right, Alex. And as I said, he's still pushing hard. It's a good drive. He is not taking his foot off. He's making sure that he doesn't get complacent, drive the fast way that he knows, get the job done, secure the win tonight. And as I said, I think if you have a bit of a smile like I normally do when you're driving really well and you happen to be at the top position. But it's a good drive by him. But what I was really interested in is the battle pack that was happening back with Mick Gray and Trevor Labrie. Now, Mick Gray's he's a couple of seconds off the pace here, but I'm just wondering if there's going to be a section where Mick can find that pace and maybe some corners to bring back that gap, or is he not going to quite finish on the podium tonight, Alex?
Yeah, look, he's 2.2. He's dropped about a second further behind Labrie in front of him there, up this long back straight. Well, we call it a back straight. There are some curves in it, as you can see now, and there is this fast kink where you used to have to think about changing down into fourth to grab this kink, but now, of course, there's no choices. The decision's been taken away, and you just sit in fourth the whole way, because we said it previously, those default setup changes that have taken place this season. But yes, he has continued on. Like I said, he has dropped that second behind, with Anthony Catt now 4.4 seconds behind. Luke Whitten has made that pass. We said he's gone past Samuel Collins, who we can see just in the distance there. He's now 1.7 seconds ahead, and I suggest, well, look, it might be tough for him to grab that top 5. He's about 12, well, look, he's 12 seconds behind Anthony Catt, in front of him in P5, and you know, but incidents aside, or barring incidents, I'd suggest that Luke Whitten will hang on for P6, and I have to say that's surprising. His iRating's down in the range of the 3,300 marks. We've seen it much higher than that, and he'll actually gain iRating out of tonight. I know that the real world has been keeping him away, but it's great to see him back on track tonight. Meanwhile, out front still, now with a 7-second lead, is Ivan Fernandez. He is really ranging away with this race, as once again he comes down this sweeping right-hand corner on the approach to YouTube Bend for the final time. Oh, the rear of the car almost stepping out there as the 13th seated driver here tonight looks to hang on. How much white knuckling do you reckon he's doing at the moment, Tim?
Yeah, he'd be hoping that nothing goes wrong. But as I said, he's driving a very smart race. Like normally, if you get out to this sort of lead, you might get a bit complacent, and that's when the accidents happen. By pushing yourself to go faster and harder and really remain consistent, you actually get your lines right. Everything starts clicking in, and as I said, I think he'll be enjoying this race, knowing that he's at the front. He probably didn't expect to be anywhere up there, so it's really good to see him up 9 positions. As I said, it seems like we're running in a reverse grid race tonight, folks, but no, we're not. We've had a bit of a shake-up of the positions, and as I said, really good drive by Ivan. He's coming into the little carousel. Hasn't got far to go now. He's going to take one more big right-hander, and then he'll be on the straight, and I think he'll be cheering. He might be doing a little bit of a wiggle down the straight, Alex.
Not too much of a wiggle, I hope, for his sake, but certainly perhaps a more sedate run down the straight than we saw in the first lap. Luke Whitten, just keeping an eye on him. He's now 8.8 seconds behind. He's gained 4 seconds, I think, since the time we last touched in on him. I don't know that he's got enough time to catch Anthony Catt, who I think is just that last right-hander, the 4th gear right-hander on the approach to that very long straight. Maybe you could launch a plane off that straight. It's so long. Mick Gray there in P4. He's still that 2.5 seconds behind Labrie. Labrie now sitting in the final of the podium positions. Marza, of course, he's done very well there, hanging on to P2. He's now 8.2 seconds behind. I tell you what, Fernandez, for not having been in the top split tonight on a Monday night before making his maiden appearance tonight, he has shown a clean pair of heels once he has gotten through the melee that was the first lap, as he's approaching these final corners down into second gear. Grab a bit of that curve, one of the few that's safe to do so, plant it there, chuck it down into first, come around the final corner, and taking out his maiden victory is Ivan Blanco Fernandez. Congratulations to him. Marza coming across to grab P2. It's probably his best result in an MNL so far. Labrie making another one, making his maiden appearance tonight, grabbing a podium. Congratulations to him. Mick Gray now closely behind. in P4. And rounding out the top 5 tonight will be Anthony Catt as he rounds that final corner, Tim.
Yeah, what a result. What a race. Very interesting race. And look, for Luke Whitten to get back up there after the incident that he had, that's an amazing effort to still get back up in. Only lost one position overall. So that was very good racing. But a really good race tonight. Kevin Henderson, he'll be a little bit disappointed with that whole incident up there. As I said, I need to go back and actually look. And I know you looked at the replay to see what caused it all. But yeah, Kevin would be a little bit disappointed with tonight's action.
Oh, jeepers, mate. It'd be dark as the ace of spades. He would be filthy, mate. He was on all the way on for a victory there. I don't blame him either. I think he was pretty much the innocent bystander there as Rahman now crossing the line in P8. The aforementioned Kevin Henderson sweeping around that final corner in P9. Still in the M&L points, but it is no podium, that's for sure. Sean Carron now coming down the final stages of that long back straight into these, well, deceptively challenging final few corners, I have to say. As he comes down now again, grabs second through here, grabs one of the very few curves that it's safe to do so around here, and then drops it down into first again across the line in P11. John Scholz did manage to get back out there. I beg your pardon, they've got me all muddled up with my positions. It's actually Scholzy coming across now for P11, and it is in fact Clark. The other Team Milo representative tonight, or we should say the leading Team Milo representative here tonight, because he's not just the other, he is leading the championship and grabbing some points tonight. He did have a drop round or a 0-point round in hand, so these points will add to his tally tonight and probably keep him in first place, given that the guy in seconds in here in the booth here with me as a very sick and tired looking Fahim Antoinides is limping around, let's just say, some of the earlier stages of the lap. I'm going to say, let's just say he's going to finish where he is because there's no one else on track. We might move on to rounding out the results here tonight, folks, while Fahim brings that very sick-looking Skip Barber back to finish his race. We are, of course, here at the Nordschleife, the Green Hell, for round 9 of Monday Night Lights, season 14, into the latter stages where the business end is well and truly taking place. Ivan Blanco Fernandez taking his maiden spot on the grid and his maiden victory from Iberia tonight. Congratulations to him. Oscar Chinchilla Maza, his clubmate from Iberia, in P2, and probably, I think, as I said, his best result in MNL so far. Trevor Labrie, another one making his debut tonight, taking full advantage of the chaos that was the tail end of lap 1. P4, great to see Mick Bray sneak into the top split and grab a great result in P4. Anthony Catt from UK and Ireland rounding out your top 5 here tonight. Luke Whitten managed to climb almost back to his start position in P6 after being involved in that early incident. Fortunately for him, it was close to the pits and he was able to limp back and get back out there. Samuel Collins, MNL regular from ANZ, in P7. Cristobal Otero Roman from Iberia, another Iberian regular to MNL, down in P8, I should say, and probably expecting a little better tonight, although he's had a bit of a rough patch of late, so hopefully things will be better for him in the remaining weeks this season. Kevin Henderson, the unfortunate victim tonight. He was racing a smart race and patient, I thought, even though he was out in front, picking his time to make his move, and unfortunately caught up in an incident that was not of his making, from at least from what I saw. P10 was Sean Carron, a top 10 finish for him, who is sitting in P3 in the championship overall, and after missing out in the top split last week, perhaps hoping for a little bit better because we know he's got some good pace, but still top 10 in points for him. John Scholz getting back out on track for Team Venom after a costly incident, just a loss in concentration for him, down in P11th. Rounding out your MNL point scorers tonight, as we said, was Team Milo's own Russell Clark. P13 tonight, another debutant for Monday Night Lights in Rafa Sola from Iberia. Made some good decisions in the midst of the melee that was lap 1. but unfortunately not able to bring it home any higher than P13. P14 was Ben Snell, who had a secondary incident after having that false start on the line, which cost him dearly, and he has retired as well. Fahim Antonides, who is still making his way around the track, I believe, I might check on his progress in a sec, is somewhere down the order, around 15th, shall we say, depending on how he brings it home over the line. And Anthony Jones, another one who failed to finish tonight after retiring on the first lap. Yes, it is. Fahim has finished his race, and it looks to me like he's finished in about P13, Tim. The results probably a little bit tripped up by his late exit, shall we say.
Yes, exactly right. And I'll put this down. This would have been the race that I would have done really well in. Knowing that I've never raced at this track before or done very little at this track, I would have been at the back somewhere, just moseying on through, and they would have all parted the seas, and it would have suited me perfectly. But look, it was a good race. To have, look, these sort of circuits, they shake it up a little bit. It's the unexpected. You don't know who you're going to get as a leader or a winner in this race. And it's shown tonight, we had, if you really look at the top five, they all, apart from Oscar Maza, they'd all increased more than 7 positions from their starting position. So it's quite an amazing effort to be starting at the back of the pack and finish up at the front. And good driving by Ivan Fernandez tonight. I was really impressed with the way he raced. Once he got the lead, he was really good at holding on to that position.
Yeah, absolutely. He did fantastically well. Very impressed. He did an 8:09, which was the fastest lap of the race, and that was his second lap. Not bettered by anyone out tonight, despite... Actually, no, I take your pardon. I beg your pardon, I should say. It looks like Luke Whitten might have just pipped him with an 8:09.6, but still, a couple of tenths around here is not much, so he's certainly had the pace. Certainly had the pace, given that all others had fallen around him as well. But no, look, fantastic result for Fernandez, and congratulations to him. And even if we're on board here at the start of the race here, he's in 2, 4, 6, 7, 8th position on the back of that lead pack at the start of the race, and done fantastically well in amongst that. So congratulations to him. Solid performance, and look, sometimes you just got to be in the race to win it, and when all others have fallen away, he's done fantastically well to hang on at what is a tremendously difficult track. So we've got a couple of people waiting to come up for an interview. I'm going to bring up our lone participant who's joining us from the top split in Mr. Ben Snell. I'll just grab... Oh, it's a sorry sight. I've grabbed him when he's in the pits, but let's find out what happened to Mr. Snell. Ben, a couple of incidents by the look, mate, but tell us what happened on the start line there.
I was too worried about thinking about releasing my clutch and not enough about putting it in first gear.
We've all been there.
Yeah, I dropped the clutch and I went, why isn't my car moving? And by the time the revs dropped enough to get it into gear, unfortunately I got hit. So unfortunately I've killed someone as well at the same time, so that's no good.
Oh, mate, that was tragic. And then you've done your 9.5-minute tow back to the pits, of which we're taking in its full glory at the moment in replay.
Oh, it's still footage.
And then what happened after that, mate? Was there a subsequent incident that forced your retirement?
Yeah, I was just putting around behind Russell because we basically left the pits at the same time, and just was not driving hard enough to think about corners. So I just overshot a corner, touched the grass, and tagged the wall and broke the rear suspension. And then the next corner, I just did a 360 and died again.
Oh, that's shattering, mate. After putting it on pole with your qualifying session just prior to the race, that's bitterly disappointing for you. So, but still, mate, we do appreciate you joining us here on track and in the booth each week, and we hope for better results in the future, because we know you got the pace, and certainly bring it each week when it comes to Monday Night Lights. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go tonight?
Oh, as usual, thanks to you guys. I hope someone said YouTube Corner.
Oh, mate, I might have mentioned it a couple of times. Just every time we went through it, just for you.
Yeah. Thanks, mate. Yeah, thanks to you guys for broadcasting as usual. it's a shame to see you in the booth this week, Tim. Not out racing. I know you don't really like the track, but you should be challenging Russell, shouldn't you? Can't let Milo have it all the way.
That's what we've got next week for. I'll be at Interlagos, hopefully, and driving there.
Excellent. All right, Ben, thanks once again for joining us, mate, and we look forward to talking to you in the coming weeks.
I'll be here.
Perfect. All right, there you go. Well, that was Mr. Snell, who always puts on a good, effort and a good performance out on track. Just like I said, I know he's got the pace. It's just a matter of putting the drifting habit that he's got aside and putting it together on the night. He's had one victory in a Monday Night Lights and hopefully many more to come, Tim.
Yeah, exactly right. And look, it's a bit unfortunate. I said to you when we're racing, I think he might have missed the first gear at the start. What a shame. What a real shame for Ben. And I was trying to work out what happened to Fahim. Did we get back to what happened to Fahim tonight, Alex?
No, I haven't yet.
I tried to pick up his first lap, and then when I'm looking at the race, it's like he joined the server late. I'm not quite sure. There's no lap for one, so I'm unsure what really happened there.
Yeah, okay. I'll try and pick it up while we have a chat to Corey. Corey, of course, joining us from the. Well, let's find out what split he is joining us from. Corey, welcome to the Top Split TV commentary booth, mate. We crossed to have a bit of a look at how you were going there tonight. How was the? What split? First of all, what split were you in tonight, mate?
I was in the third split tonight. We had not a bad SOF actually for a third split race. It was an 11:57.
Yeah, nice. That is fairly good. Good for a third split here. Of course, Monday Night Lights brings them out in droves, which is fantastic. But we did a bit of a cross there, mate. Tell us a bit about how your race unfolded.
Well, it was a bit of a calm and controlled kind of a race. When it comes to racing at the Nordschleife, it's got to be, you got to be as safe as you can, but not lose too much of the speed that you got to carry, especially through those really fast sections, like that really long uphill section before you get into the carousel. And you just got to make sure you can hit your marks right and make sure that you don't make a mess of it,
Yeah, 100%, mate. There's a lot to know about this track. We noticed that you had the driving line on, which is, I got to tell you, people should not be embarrassed to have the driving line on around here because there are 160 plus corners to learn. And when you're starting out, there's no shame in doing it, mate. Did you find it a bit of a help out there tonight?
Well, see, I mostly had the driving line on just so I know, what kind of a corner is coming up. Because, as you said, 160 plus corners. It's not like you're trying to learn one race track. It's like you're trying to learn 3 or 4 at the same time. So, it got a little bit sketchy there, like especially early on in the week, trying to get to grips with the track. Because, I've never raced on the track on iRacing before, and I've never raced in the Skippy on it before. So, it's been a long learning process this week for me.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. As many I'm sure can attest to, it is a very long learning process. As we just capture a bit of the action from the start of this race, I think you might be right, Tim. I didn't see. I've tried to capture for him on the grid at the start, but I just don't think he was there. So he may have had connection problems and joined the server late, as you mentioned. But Corey, the results from the third split, mate. Where did you finish up?
So I ended up finishing in P5 there. This week, because it's a real learning track for me, I've just been starting in the pits every time. So we had a split of 15 cars, and I started from the pits and ended up finishing in P5.
Excellent result, mate. As we can see, attrition can certainly play a big factor in this race at this track. And it certainly seems to have worked in your favour from that perspective, mate, as has keeping it clean on the track. And there's a lot to be said for that. Just racing smart and cautiously. As I said during the call tonight, sometimes racing 9/10 can get you a pretty good result around here. So congratulations to you, mate. Hopefully a good haul of iRating for you there as well, and perhaps in the coming weeks, promotion to the second split, and ultimately we can be calling your name out here in the top split on the Monday night, mate. But thank you so much for joining us here and giving you a report of your race. For those of who'd like to check out your racing live, mate, where can they find you?
To catch me live, then go over to twitch.tv/Corey Has No Life 13. I will stress, though, there is a mature content warning on my channel. I do tend to have a bit of a mouth on me, and I've even got a see you next Tuesday counter, so make sure that you're not afraid of a little bit of language.
Absolutely. They have been warned, folks, but if you're out for a good time and a bit of a laugh and some good racing thrown into it, I know Dirt Oval's more his specialty, but he's coming around to our Skippy way of life slowly but surely, and great to have him here on a Monday night as well. So congratulations on the top 5 finish here tonight, Corey, and we look forward to talking to you in the coming weeks.
Oh, no worries. I'm definitely going to be looking at featuring a lot more. I won't be here for Interlagos because I don't have the track at the moment, but I'll definitely be back for a Canadian Tire and also for Bathurst.
Awesome, mate. We look forward to seeing you then, and thanks again for joining us.
No worries. Thank you very much for the call.
There you have it, Tim, a newly minted Skippy driver in Corey, and it's great to have him out there. It's great to see young guys coming through and having a good run, and hopefully we get to see a bit more of that in the future.
Yeah, exactly right. It's really good to see the guys coming through the ranks, and we've all been there. I can attest to that. I have been down there, and it's good to work your way through. And he did the right thing tonight. He was very strategic about his race. Start down in the pits if you're really unsure and don't want to get caught up in all the traffic, and just race your own race. Sometimes it's not about coming first. And he's proven that, and he's got a 5th position. That's a really, really good result for Corey.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Just taking a look at the second split, we've got some M&L regulars there, and Mark Jeffrey, Ken Himes, Jeff Dehon. I'm never confident in pronouncing Jeff's surname, but we all know him affectionately as Mother. He's there in P6. Paul Beatty, another Friday Night Race Club regular now, he's down in P10. That's about all our regulars there. And I'll tell you what, these races are so long, the third split results haven't even come up for me yet. I'm wondering if I can grab them out of another. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Corey, of course, joining us from the second split. Corey's finished in P5, as we said. I'm just trying to spot any other regulars down there. It's just Corey Steinhauser in there. He's the only one. But, of course, the top split was where it was at once again this week. It was, as you said, mate, you could have, it's like playing Kelly pool. You draw the number out of the container, and that's your number for the night. It may as well have been that with some of the outcomes from that early race tonight. I think I might go back to the replay and grab some footage for future promo videos, because it was certainly quite an action-packed little bit of racing there for what it was, and it really changed the nature of this race and certainly the outcome dramatically. But that's the way it goes. Next week we're off to Interlagos. Fantastic track for round 10. Tim, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm looking forward to it, Alex. I've never been really fast there, but I've got the little practice car out. We've been doing some laps. Really looking forward to it. It's a fantastic racing track. That's what I'm looking for, and it gets a lot of participation. That's another word that doesn't like me. And no, look, I'm really looking forward to some good, clean racing out there. I know it can get a little bit messy on that circuit, especially coming down after you go through the first couple of corners and the first straight. It can get a little bit untidy into that next corner. But look, great track to race on, and we'll see how we go. I'm looking forward to this week coming up.
Yeah, that's it, mate. I'm looking forward to it too. It's a great track, very enjoyable track to skip Barber too. Nice flow to it, some good technical sections of it. But yeah, really looking forward to round 10 there at Interlagos. Just Got some great footage here of the two teammates who finished in first and second here, Ivan Blanco Fernandez and Oscar Chinchilla Maza, who are wearing the same livery tonight, obviously teammates. Hopefully, if one of them has, far better English than my Spanish, perhaps one night they might join us in the booth because these guys are becoming regulars in M&L. It'd be great to hear their insights on what it's like as well. But for now, folks, Tim, I know you've changed your Twitch TV channel lately. You've rebranded officially to the Golden Stig. Is that where people can find you this week?
Yep, exactly right. We'll be live this week. The Golden Stig on Twitch TV. Come over, check it out. Same good-looking person on the other side of the webcam, just with a new name.
Perfect. And, of course, you can find me similarly over the Top Split TV Twitch channel. A couple of nights racing this week, probably Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all going to plan. But in addition to that, of course, folks, head over to the topsplit.com, where the latest episode of the podcast featuring Wild Annie, a.k.a. Tammy Jeffrey, we had a great chat, and it's a good listen, good bit of fun. Episode 12, I think I'm up to from memory. Check that out over at the topsplit.com. Check us out on Top Split TV over at Twitch, but also, of course, back here each and every Monday night. We will be here covering the best Skip Barber race action you will ever see. Well, perhaps a bit of an overstatement, but it's bloody good. Keep coming back. It's good fun. But for now, I've been your host, Alex McKellar, on behalf of Tim Awema. Thank you for joining us once again. And until next time, I will say ciao for now.